guys, hope you're feeling okay. It is autumn, so this is the autumn phase of your cycle where our hormones are starting to decrease again, and that's where some of the symptoms can come about. Now, if you're at the start of this phase, you may still be feeling really strong, really fit, really good, so you might still be working on some of those PBs. You may still feel like you're sort of in that summer phase, and that is absolutely fine. If you're coming towards the latter end of this, you may start to be feeling a little bit more sluggish, a little bit more tired, and a little bit more like you're entering into your winter phase, and you may want to go straight in towards the winter workout. Or you may want a middle ground. So the middle ground is what we're going to do today. We're going to do lighter weights, more reps, and you can have as much rest as you like. So this is a really good workout to adapt, because if you're feeling really strong, you can go slightly heavier with the weights. If you're feeling like you're coming towards the end of this phase, you can go slightly lighter weights and just take a little bit more rest. Or I'm also going to give you some body weight options for some of the exercises as well, okay? But first things first, we need to get nice and warm. So all I'm going to get you to do is just do some squat into hip opener. If you're in a gym setting, you may want to do 5 minutes on a treadmill to start off with, and that's absolutely fine. But otherwise, let's just do a couple of squats into hip openers, and I'm already warm, so my jumper's coming off. But squat into hip opener for me, guys, sinking nice and low, starting to open up through those hips and starting to really warm up through the legs. Now, same rules apply depending on how energetic you're feeling. Maybe whether you're doing more of these, maybe whether you're doing less of them, and that's absolutely fine too. Guys, you're gonna hold on to a wall. We're gonna take some nice big leg swings. So we're gonna take some kicks forwards and back, trying to keep the chest nice and lifted, and we're starting to open up through the hips. So nice big leg swings for me, forwards and back. And then you're going to go in front and outwards. So you hold onto a wall still, and we kick in front and outwards. So holding onto a wall, in front and outwards, balance at its finest, okay? You're looking for about 10 to 12 on each leg with this, similar to what we do in the winter workout. But same again, you might just be taking your time a little bit more, and that's absolutely fine. Guys, do the same on the other leg. So some nice big kicks, some nice big swings for me. Forwards and back, about 10 to 12, and then you do the same in front and outwards, opening up through the hips, okay? Then from there, we're gonna take some nice big arm circles forwards, and then some nice big arm circles backwards. So opening up through the chest. We're then gonna take some arms hugs, so you open, and then you give yourself a cuddle. You open, and then you give yourself a cuddle, and we're really starting to round out, to open up through the chest, open up through the back, and then open and squeeze. Let's start to add in a knee lift, so we wrap around and hug in the knee, and then we open. We go again, we wrap around and hug in the knee. Balance this morning is not great, okay? And a couple more there for me, guys. Really trying to pull that knee as high as you can, so we get that length in towards the back of the legs, and then swapping it over. Guys, come down to the floor for me. We're gonna go straight into a groiner. So your foot comes as high as you can, and then we're taking a nice big twist. So plank foot to hand, opening and extending. Hand goes back to the floor, and then we do the same on the other side. Really sinking into it, same again, depending on how you're feeling during this phase of your cycle. You may want to sink into it a little bit more, you may want to move through it a little bit more quickly, and that is absolutely fine. Let's go into our glute stretch. So your foot comes towards your opposite wrist, we sink into the hips here, and then we gently push back and do the same on the other side. So you're trying to bring your foot as high as you can, so that we can stretch out through the hips, in towards the glutes, and then the same on the other side. Guys, before we get into the actual workout, I just want to do some glute bridge roll-ups so that we start to fire up through the glutes and the lower back, so that we make sure your bum does the work, your lower back doesn't. So, down onto the floor, heels into the floor, we tuck the tailbone, scooping up and squeezing your bum at the top, and then you gently roll yourselves back down. Heels into the floor, scoop and roll your way up, and then roll yourselves back down. So we're really firing up through the glutes, but we're making sure that we're rolling through the spine as well to get some of that movement and mobility in it. Good, guys. Gently release from there. So today's workout, autumn, the focus is reps and range. I've got one lower body exercise for you per round. I've got one upper body, one lower body, and then one mobility one, because like I said, this is the phase where we sort of do a mix of everything, and you can tailor it to you depending on how you're feeling. So we're gonna start off with some push-ups or some chest press on the floor is absolutely fine. Then we're gonna move into some squats, and then we're gonna move into some inchworms. We're gonna do 12 to 15 reps of each exercise 3 times through, and then we'll move on to the second set, okay? The same rules apply. You take as much rest as you need to. So your first exercise, guys, you're gonna need 2 dumbbells, or kettlebells, or you can use a barbell, or you can use tins of beans. But we're coming to here. We're tucking the tailbone under, keeping the back nice and flat. We're going out nice and wide so the weights come in line with your chest, elbows touch the floor, and then a big squeeze back up, okay? Out nice and wide, big squeeze back up. If you don't have weights, push-ups is your option. So we come the other way round, knees in the floor or on the toes, thumbs in line with nipples, chin is forwards of the chest, and we drop nice and low, okay? So hands wide, chin is forwards of the chest. We're not here, we're here, and then we drop into it from there. Guys, you're looking for 12 to 15 reps here. So whenever you are ready, whichever option works for you, 12 to 15 reps, okay? So your weights, tailbone tucked under, keep the heels in the floor, scoop your bum under, out nice and wide, tap into the floor, big squeeze up. Now if you're feeling pretty good, these weights might be a little bit heavier, and we're aiming more for those 12 reps. If we're feeling a little bit sluggish, those weights may be a little bit lighter, and we're looking anywhere from 12 to 15, and that's absolutely fine. But we're focusing today on the range of the move, getting that nice smooth control, so the elbows touch the floor and then we squeeze back up. If you were to look at it from a front position, you would be elbows wide, 90-degree angle in line with your chest, and then squeezing back together. Once you've done 12 to 15 reps there, relax, breathe, take as much rest as you need in this, and then we move into our squats. So same again, you can either use 2 weights, hold them here or here. If you've got a kettlebell, wherever I put my kettlebell, we go here. So feet wider than the hips, toes turned out slightly, and then we sink nice and low, stand up and squeeze. The lower you hold it, the more we load the legs. If you want a little bit more for the core, you can flip the kettlebell upside down, hold it higher, and focus on that core. Sinking nice and low, knees push out, and then we squeeze at the top. So send your bum backwards and down, and then really big drive up. Same again, 12 to 15 reps there. Your option, no weight. If you don't have any weights, that's absolutely fine as well. Focus more on the rep side of it. Let's push those reps in towards the 15 mark, absolutely fine. So if you're going lighter weights, we increase the reps. If you're going heavier weights, then we decrease the reps and we make those last couple of reps a bit of a struggle. If you're already struggling, focus on the range, reduce the reps, reduce the weight, absolutely fine. 12 to 15 there, guys, then have a little breather. Then we're going into our inchworm for mobility aspect. So, unweighted, we reach for the floor, trying to keep the legs as straight as we can. We walk out into a plank position, and then we walk back in and stand it up, okay? So same again, we reach for the floor, trying to keep the legs as straight as you can. We walk out into a plank, and then we walk back in. Now making sure your plank is shoulders over elbows, tailbone is tucked under, back is flat. We're not here, yeah? Full plank position, lengthening through the spine. and take a little pause in that plank position. This is a mobility exercise, so we're looking for range. So we're focusing on feeling the stretch in the back of the legs here, controlling the walk out into a plank position, and then bracing in that plank position for a moment before we walk ourselves back in. If you're feeling quite energetic, you can make this more of a cardio move by moving quicker. Okay, so if you're at the start of this autumnal phase, you may still be feeling quite good. You may want to make it slightly quicker move. Okay, I am definitely towards the latter end of my autumnal phase, so I am knackered already. So I'm taking it nice and slow. But you may want to accelerate those hands out and accelerate them back in. 12 to 15 reps there, guys, then have a little breather. And then guess what? We do it all again. Okay, so that's round one done. We know the moves. Round two, we want to focus a little bit more on getting that range and focusing on ensuring we're getting those reps in there as well, depending on what you're working at. So higher weights, less reps, but still a struggle. Yeah, lighter weights because we're feeling towards the latter end of this phase, and then we're gonna go more reps and it's less of a struggle. So guys, when you are ready, back into your chest press for me. So we're down to the floor or floor press, down to the floor, tailbone is tucked under, core is engaged, out nice and wide, big squeeze back up. Out nice and wide, slight pause at the bottom, hovering off the floor, and then a big drive back up. That's how we're focusing on getting more range here, by really opening up and squeezing at the top. 12 to 15 reps there, keeping that control element. Also, tucking the tailbone under, thinking belly button to spine, trying to keep the back as flat as you can. You are all women, so there's probably got a bit of lombardic spine, which means we stick our bums out. So to try and help with any lower back pain, we really scoop our bum under so that we can fire up through those lower abdominals. Once you've done 12 to 15 reps there, guys, take as much rest as you need to, but then stand it back up. Weight can come here, no weight can come here, weights can come here. Whatever you've got, work with it, and we sink low into the squats. Double check with this though, so we have a lot of imbalances. Autumnal phase is a great opportunity for you to really focus on technique. So double check, your feet are just wider than your hips and your toes are turned out slightly. What we don't want to see is this or this, yeah, where one is pointing out the other, which happens a lot, especially if you've had children, and we tend to hold baby on one side more than the other. So if you've got access to a mirror, technique, let's double check that technique today. Toes facing forwards, and then we push the knees out. We don't let them cave in, yeah, we really push them out so the knees stay in line with the ankles, stay in line with the toes. 12 to 15 reps there, guys, then take as much rest as you need to, and then we move into our inchworms. Feel the stretch in the back of the legs, walk out into that plank position, holding and controlling, and then walking back in and rolling it back up. 12 to 15 reps there, really focusing on that control, that technique. So it's a full stretch, really lengthening through the back of the legs. It's a controlled walk out into plank, and then plank position, tailbone is tucked under, core is engaged, shoulder in line with your wrist, and we're not rounding, we're squeezing those shoulder blades together like you've got a 50-pound note in between your spine, in between your shoulder blades, so try to squeeze it there, yeah? 12 to 15 reps there, guys, then have a little breather. And then we do it one more time, okay? One more time. So, chest press. Now, same again. If you're starting to pick up in energy now, because now that you've started to get into it, your motivation started to kick in, you may want to increase the weights a little bit and then reduce the reps. That's absolutely fine. We may be getting through it and actually you're starting to get more fatigued because you are towards that latter end of your autumnal phase. So you may want to either stick with where you're at, reduce the weights even more, or keep the same weights but just reduce the reps so that you're not in it for as long, and that's absolutely fine. Work with your body. The rep range is 12 to 15, so if you're working in that zone, that's absolutely fine, just with whatever weights feel good for you, or your body weight. Remember, if you're doing push-ups, absolutely fine. Yeah, ready when you are, guys. Into your chest press. Remember, weights come to here, so when they're overhead, when you're laid down, your weight should not be in line with your eyes. They should be in line with sort of your chin to chest height. Then we squeeze in line with nipples, and then we release away. It's very similar when we do push-ups. Obviously, thumbs are in line with nipples, chin is forwards of the chest, we drop nice and low, and then we push and squeeze away. Whichever you are working with, keep working with it. 12 to 15 reps there, then we're standing it back up and we're into our squats. So weights can come here, here, or no weights at all. That's absolutely fine. Really focus on the range, the reps, the technique during this season. Okay, sinking nice and low, pushing those knees out. You take as much rest and recovery as you need, and then you come back in. Not a problem. 12 to 15 reps there, guys. Once you've done that, little breather, little shake out, and then into those inchworms. But double check that plank position. If you struggle in a full plank, drop to the knees, lengthen through the spine, tuck the tailbone under, feel your belly button drawing upwards. Avoid this, so you're rounding out here. Think about lifting and lengthening through the spine, taking a slight look forwards to help lift through the chest, and then walk yourselves back in. Okay, really great opportunity to work on core control in this phase as well. And I hope you like my autumnal background. Guys, once you've done that, little breather, little recovery, take some rest. So that's round one done. Okay, round two, I'm going to show you another set of exercises. So same again, an upper body exercise, a lower body exercise, and then into some mobility. Now your upper body exercise is going to be tricep extension. So I like to do it from a kneeling position, especially if we're focusing a little bit more on core control. The reason for that is if we come to here, so knees are hip distance apart, tailbone is tucked under, so we're not letting the bum stick out, we're scooping it under so that we're firing up through those lower abdominals. Then we're going to take a weight up, elbows in nice and tight behind the head, the weight goes down towards the neck, and then a big squeeze up. Down towards the neck, and then a big squeeze up, elbows staying nice and tight. The reason I like doing it from a kneeling position is because you can't swing your body, and it also incorporates some more abdominals because you need to squeeze your bum and squeeze your belly to stay in this position. If it's not comfortable for you on your knees, take a seat or stand up, not a problem. Just try and focus on keeping that tailbone tucked under. If you do not have access to a weight, all you need is a bench or a sofa or a chair, and you're doing tricep dips, where the hands come behind for support onto the bench, we bend at the elbows, and then we push away. Yeah, if I was doing it on the floor, imagine my hands are on a bench or a sofa, elbows bend, and then we push back up. Elbows bend, and then we push back up, focusing on that range element. That's your upper body exercise. Your lower body exercise is stiff leg deadlift. So very similar to what we just did in the inchworm, except this time we're keeping a flat back. So weights come to your thighs, squeeze your shoulder blades together, and knees are nice and soft. And then we're focusing on sending our bums backwards as much as you can for you. And then we stand up and squeeze, okay? Bum goes backwards, and then we stand up and squeeze. What we don't want to see is this. Yeah, it's all about a beautiful person standing behind you. Want to put your bottom all up in that. So knees are nice and soft. Send your bums as far back as you can, like trying to rock into your heels, and then you stand up. Really great way to get used to this is get a wall, take a little step away from it. So a good sort of like foot, your own foot sized away. Chest is up, keep looking forwards, keep lifting through your chest. Now just get your bum to touch the wall. Yeah, and that will help you do that. And that's exactly what we want. Same again, I like a Legally Blonde quote. I quoted it in spring, I'm going to quote it again. Bend and snap. That's your lower body workout. If you don't have weights, you're going to do it strictly body weight, focusing on the length in the back of the legs, and then really accentuating that squeeze. Then we're going into a groiner, and you've got two options here. Your foot comes as high as you can, you step it, sink into the hip, and then you do the same on the other side, or we can jump it, okay? It's entirely up to you, depending on which part of your phase you're in, whether you're at the earlier end or whether you're at the latter end. 12 to 15 reps, tricep extension, let's get cracking. So, knees hip distance apart, squeeze your bum, tailbone tucked under, just lift the chest, elbows in, behind, back up, behind, back up. Remembering, we're not sticking the bum out, we're squeezing and tucking and going from there. If you need to, you can do it from a standing position, but same again, try not to let your bum stick out and your legs lock out. Tuck in, knees are soft, down and back up. 12 to 15 reps there for me, guys. If you don't have weight, remember your tricep dip option. Focusing on that range, elbows back and down, we're firing up through the back of the arms here. 12 to 15 reps, work to your effort and energy level. If you're feeling pretty good, you might want to push yourself to a struggle so that it's quite a challenge. If you're not feeling so great, if you're starting to feel a little bit more fatigued, a little bit easier, we may want to reduce that down a little bit by either reducing the weight, reducing the reps, or increasing the rest period, okay? Once you've done that, guys, 12 to 15 stiff leg deadlifts. Remember, boobs out, bum out, weight into your heels, run your hands with your weight or no weights down your legs, just as far as you can go, and then you stand back up. Remembering, we're not going to here. I don't want you to go all the way down if your back is rounding. We want a nice flat back, and then a big squeeze. 12 to 15 reps there for me, please, team. At all opportunities, engaging through the core, thinking belly button to spine, think about drawing inwards. This is the time for you to focus on technique, control, and get those reps in. Yeah, get the reps to repeat so that you can really nail that technique and nail your movements. Once you've done that, guys, you're down to the floor. Once you've had a breather, once you've had a rest, into your groiner. You come to a plank position, your foot comes outside your hand as high as you can go, you sink into the hips. Then we step it and swap onto the other side. If you're feeling a little bit more energetic, we jump it and land low. If you're not feeling energetic at all, or you're really struggling with that and you need an option, come to a tabletop position, foot comes outside the hand, back knee stays on the floor. Back to a tabletop position. Foot comes outside the hand, back knee on the floor, coming into that tabletop position. 12 to 15 reps. Each side counts as one. So 1, 2, 3, 4, etc., etc. So for evenness, let's say 12 to 14 or 12 to 16 reps, just to keep things even, okay? But really great one to open up through the hips, to lengthen through the hamstrings, and to engage through the abdominals. All exercises that we've already done. Your RDLs, those stiff leg deadlifts, they work on hamstrings. We've worked the core. So it's a really great opportunity to lengthen those muscles whilst we're utilizing them in a dynamic way. Once you've done that, breathe, recover, we do it again. Okay, so back into your tricep extension, elbows in nice and tight, big squeeze up. And the other thing is, you may find that some of the exercises feel a little bit easier for you to motivate to do. So you may find that actually doing the stiff leg deadlifts and the triceps feel a little bit easier than doing the squats or the push-ups. So you may want to work on increasing your reps, increasing your weights here. And that's absolutely fine. This is not the time to be trying to necessarily to force you to do things that don't feel great. Definitely not in winter. In winter, we don't want to force ourselves to do anything. But in the autumnal fit period, as you're coming towards the end of that phase, we want to make sure that we're working with our bodies. In the earlier phase, when you're still feeling pretty good, it's pretty spring-like, then summer-like, I'm getting all of my seasons mixed up here. You may want to push it a little bit more, and that's absolutely fine. Work with how you are feeling on that day in that phase of your cycle. Once you've done your triceps and had a rest, stiff leg deadlifts, hands onto thighs, with or without weights, send your bum backwards and then stand up and squeeze. Send your bum backwards and then stand up and squeeze for me. Really focusing on that technique, that range. Same rules apply, feet are hip distance apart. Don't let your knees cave in when you do it. Really focus on pushing those knees out. It'll help to fire up through your bum even more. And if you want a peachy bottom, the more we can push those knees out, the better. This may look like my knees are in line with my ankles. They're not. We want to screw the heels into the floor and push them out as much as we can. Fire up through those glutes. Once you've done 12 to 15 reps there, down to the floor into your groiners, 12 to 15 reps, whatever option works for you, works for me too. Whether you're jumping because we're feeling energetic, whether you're stepping in a full plank position, or whether you're on your knees, whatever works for you is entirely okay. 12 to 15 reps there, guys, then have a little breather. We do it one more time, and then you're done. Dead easy, yeah? Dead easy. So when you're ready, guys, let's get it over and done with, shall we? So triceps, elbows in nice and tight, big squeeze up, release down, big squeeze up, release down. Really squeeze at the top to fire up through here and keep that tailbone tucked under. 12 to 15 reps there, really squeezing and focusing on maintaining that range and getting those 12 to 15 reps. Once you've done 12 to 15 reps there, you're into your stiff leg deadlifts. Same again, maintain your range, focus on your technique, get those reps in there. Yeah, after summer, we did less reps, higher weights. We start to decrease that down, as you can see, in the sense of we're reducing the weights, but we're increasing the reps. So we get a similar level of intensity that works for you where you're at. Remember what I said in the seminar, if you can only give 50% and you give 50%, then you are still giving 100% of whatever you've got. Guys, once you've done them, into your groiners, please, whatever option works for you. Remember, take as much rest as you need to, shake out when you need to, make sure you're taking on board lots of water as well, but really focus on opening up through those hips, finding the range in the back of the legs, and really sinking into it. And always engage your core, engage your core, engage your core, yes? Guys, once you've done that, little breather, little recovery, you're done. We stretch, okay? So when you are ready, you can take a seat. You can take a seat. Ooh, move the weights out of the way so you don't sit on them. Today, you're gonna cross your legs. Right leg is gonna come in front, or one leg is gonna come in front, it doesn't really matter. So one leg comes in front, higher up or higher up again, and then we hinge and we fold down so that we're releasing out through the glutes and the outer hip. Holding here, taking some nice big deep breaths, allowing yourselves to sink into it. And then we gently release, we unravel, we do the same on the other side. So other leg, different sides, different flexibilities, just work with what you've got, work with where you're at today, and work with where you're at during this phase of your cycle as well. Toes together, knees drop out for your butterfly stretch, sending your weight forwards and really using your elbows to push your knees down to open up through the hips even more. Team, gently bring yourselves up. Let's go into our quad stretch. So holding onto a wall if you need to. Quads, reaching for the foot, knees together, push the hips forward and lift through the chest. Really squeezing the bum, starting to open up through the hips as well as the quads, and then releasing and swapping. If you can do it balanced, go for it, but if not, don't worry about it. The focus is the stretch, not necessarily the balance. And then guys, let's reach down towards the floor, allowing your spine to roll though this time, so not worrying about that stiff leg deadlift, rolling down, and then rolling yourselves back up, tucking your chin, last thing to come up. Take one arm behind, push the elbow back and down, and then arch over for our tricep and in towards our lats. And oblique stretch. Release, swap, same on the other side. And and then pull the arms behind, pull the knuckles back and down, lift through the head and the chest. Good, guys, release there, you are done. So your autumnal phase, done, okay? So if you want to do more of this, what you're going to think about interchanging any upper body exercises and lower body exercises. So think shoulder press, bent over rows, lat pull downs. Lower body, think lunges, Bulgarian split squats, strict deadlifts, whatever you want. But we're focusing on reps, we're focusing on range, and we're focusing on making sure we get that technique right. 12 to 15 reps, taking as much rest as you need to, increasing and decreasing the weights accordingly. Remember, this autumnal phase is sort of a bit of a blended phase where we move from one into the next, so adjust accordingly. And if you need anything from me, just make sure that you give me a little contact and we're good to go from there, okay? I'll see you guys next time. Bye.